What is up, guys? Welcome back to A Talk on Titan. We are here to talk about this newest episode, episode 9, Brave Volunteers. As you can see, I'm here with Ben Goddard as always, but we have a special guest. We have Miss OtakuMai in the house. Hi, Otaku.
Hello.
All the way from Scotland, joining us at these crazy late hours of the night. Thank you so much for coming by.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, this is going to be a lot of fun. I obviously found you through the Attack on Titan crazy reactor community on YouTube, that there's so many people out there reacting to Attack on Titan and just like geeking out about it. So I'm so excited to talk to you. First things first, can I ask you, what got you into the show?
Well, unlike a lot of people, I hadn't heard about Attack on Titan until I think 2019, so 2 years ago. I saw it pop up on Netflix. Only season 1 was available on Netflix, but I saw it. But when I was into anime back then, I was kind of new still, and I was a huge fan of just shoujo. I never really watched any action or shonen or anything like that. But then I think it was after exam period in February. I think it was in the middle of the night, and I wanted something to watch, so I just clicked on Attack on Titan, and then I was met with that first episode where we know obviously Eren's mother got eaten, and it was midnight, and I was super emotional about it. And then after that, I just kept watching. I think I watched, I don't know how late into the night I was watching, but I couldn't stop after the first episode.
That's amazing. Yeah, I swear season 1 is like crazy. It hits the ground running and it'll get you into it so quickly. Do you have like a favorite episode, a favorite character?
Favorite episode? That's hard. I really like the one in season 3, part 2, where they're all having to choose between saving Erwin or Armin. That was a really powerful episode.
Midnight Sun. Yep.
Yeah, that's the name of it. Yep.
Midnight Sun. Yeah, it's
and
crazy.
Like just episode before, we'd seen Levi take out the Beast Titan and everything. It was. I think all of season 3, part 2 is just like my favorite part so far of the series. And as for my favorite character, Levi. Levi's my favorite.
Of course.
You and Ben have that in common.
I see you are a person of culture as well.
Yes. Yeah. I'm just here.
It's all like Levi memes and Levi moments, and Ben stands Levi. I do too, to be fair. I have like a Levi figure in the back there. I don't know if you guys can
so
see
do
it.
I.
Oh, no way. There you go. I love Levi. I think he's like the definition of like short king.
He really is.
Literally. Because he's tiny and he's actually like as powerful as a king. So that's amazing. Last question, just because I'm curious. Do you have like a favorite opening intro or a favorite closing?
Oh, that's a hard one. I mean, obviously the first one is iconic. That has to be like there. But I also, unlike a lot of people, I really liked Red Swan. Like I know a lot of people didn't like it because it was different, but I liked it for the reason that it was different.
Yeah.
Which one was that? Was that season 3, part 1?
Season 3, part 1, yeah.
Yeah, I figured.
The slower one, which I really liked. But also Sasageyo, like that one as well.
That's my favorite.
Yeah. that's the go-to one. But no, I understand. I really like the animation of season 3, part 1. It wasn't my favorite song, but like the story of the opening credits of season 3, part 1 was really, really good.
Yeah.
We see little Erwin there.
I love that one. I love especially like the attention to detail, like how they like don't have his arm, like they actually like keep it like to how he is, and just like the little of everyone, like little Levi as well, and just little everyone, how like it reminds you of like what like the past and now like how everything is now. It's kind of sad. It just made me feel really sad the first time I saw it, I think. But
yeah, like season 3, part 1 intro reminds me of this one, where like I remember seeing the first time, I was like, what is this song? But just like you get into like the imagery of the war and everything that's going on, it's like every single episode has just gotten more and more haunting as like the war crimes and the terrible things have happened this season so far.
Yeah, that was my impression of this one as well. At first I was like, this song is kind of strange, this opening is kind of strange, but I think the more I've watched it, the more I've loved it. It suits the season so well. I remember seeing a lot of manga readers saying that. I'm not a manga reader, obviously, but I saw a lot of them saying that as the season progresses, you'll understand the opening more. And I do see that now, like, with the whole war theme and everything. I think it is really good. It suits this season very well, I think.
Yeah, it's crazy. I saw a meme that said, season 4 opening starts, and you're like, what is this? 6 episodes later, you're like headbanging to it.
Or like that TikTok I sent you where the guy was like crip walking to the thing. He's like about to watch some war crimes and people die.
Yep, pretty much. That's what season 4 is all about right now. Speaking of which, let's get right to episode 9, which is a lot of information. We get our classic flashback episode, what has been going on Paradis these past few years. We discover that the first ship that was sent there, the one with Yelena on the ship, was actually taken to shore by Eren as he literally just picked it up and took it to shore. And then Hange had her incredible intro. I have to start with that. What'd you guys think of Hange's like, welcome to Paradise?
First, did you guess who Armin was talking to at the very beginning? Because it starts with Armin, like
I did. I got it. I did too.
I did too.
I didn't know. No. I thought it could be, but I didn't want to like think in case it wasn't. So I just tried to like not like hype myself up for something that might not be. So I just kind of left it. I was like, he didn't seem like he was talking to any of his like friends or anything, but I didn't know who it was. No.
Hange's introduction is the most Hange thing ever. Like I missed that. It was like both Hange and Levi, you kind of not forgotten about it, but you missed them because Levi's had 2 lines so far, Hange's had 2 lines so far, and you're like, oh yeah, this is Hange and Levi. And the fact that they opened the thing together where it's like, oh, welcome to the island, everyone's happy here, and they're like, he's not falling for it. Let's kill him.
Well, I loved how they went back to like the old dynamic that we knew between Hange and Levi. It just felt like the old Attack on Titan when it was before the war and everything. It was their dynamic that we loved so much. Hange being her wild, wacky self, and Levi telling her to stop because it's not working. It really reminded me of how it was before, and a big contrast to like last episode when they were all like really serious.
Yeah, it's crazy to think that Hange. I love Hange's threats where she's threatening to kill the guy. I think his name was Nicolo. And at the same time, she was like, wait, don't be rude to me. We have Eren right behind you. And she points out Eren. I thought that was really cool. But then we see Yelena.
Just so logical. She like goes back between like being like so logical and grounded to being Hange. So she's like, oh, what are you doing? There's a Titan, right? Like she's still like so like animated about it, but she's like it's like that mix of like crazy and logic that Hange has that she brings to her character, and where it's just like, oh, we're be friends. Oh, you don't want to be friends? Well, there's a Titan behind you, so I don't know why you don't want to be friends. It's like it's so Hange.
Yeah, and then that leads to Yelena's introduction, where Yelena is actually like, oh, I'll take you up on it, Hange. Let's get that tea, and I'll drop the tea. By literally telling you everything that's inside the Marley military. She told them how many soldiers they have, how many ports they have, and ships. Pretty much just voluntarily saying this stuff to Hange and to Levi. And it also leads to a fun little interaction too, where Onyokopon says, we have ships that fly in the sky, and Hange just freaks out. And Levi's like, don't freak out, Hange. What are you doing?
Yeah, he's like, don't let them know that we don't have this technology. She's like, I got it. Yeah. You can fly?
Yeah.
I love how she just freaked out. I mean, it was so Hange. It's just a Hange thing.
It really is. And what'd you guys think of Yelena, the character? Because this is the first time we actually got to see a lot of her. We saw a little bit of her last episode and the episode before that with trapping Cart and Jaw. But then we got to see a lot of her this episode. She seems to be pretty committed to the cause, mainly committed to Zeke more than anything else. Not necessarily the cause, but pretty much at the same time, she seems to be pretty committed. Are you guys on board with Yelena so far? I'll start with you, May.
I haven't decided how I feel about her yet, honestly. I mean, one thing I know for sure is that she is completely devoted to Zeke. She's doing everything in his name. And the only reason she's doing what she is for him. That's the first thing I noticed. Like, especially when we saw that look on her face when she saw the Beast Titan and she realized that he was like a god to her, basically. That's what I realized. But I mean, she seems like an interesting character. I'm liking that we're seeing more of her. And I hope to see more of her. I don't know how she feels about everything going on. I think she's just very devoted to Zeke and she'll do whatever he says. That's my opinion on her so far. I don't really know. I mean, I like her, but I'm not sure yet. It's not. I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop almost.
Yeah, exactly. Like I like her. I like her character. I like the introduction of her and everything like that. But you're right. It's all about Zeke. The minute like he not changes his mind, but the minute like his actual plan comes to fruition, whatever it is, whether it's to eat Eren, whether it's to actually team up with the Islanders, whether it's to, do whatever he says he's going to do, Yelena's going to be there. And she's very smart and she's very capable and seems like she's pretty ruthless. So I like her if she's on our side. She's like Terrell Owens. Like, you love to hate him, but if he's against you, you're going to root hard against him. And Yelena is a very capable character. And in this series, we all know that we don't get many that are good. She makes me nervous. She does make me very nervous for what she'll do. Like, her calling Zeke a god is like, she'll easily die for him without even batting an eyelash. And it's a very scary thought.
Yeah, the other thing too is, and I know we're going to jump to it maybe because I'm just so keen on jumping to this now, but I feel like let's talk about Zeke because we still don't know what his plan is or why he did what he did. We got zero of that this episode. We just know that he has a plan and he wants to help the Eldian Empire and the people on Paradise. We just don't know why or why he did what he did it before. Was it like a long con that he did? Which kind of goes hand in hand with the ending of the episode as far as Levi kind of putting him in that forest and saying like, hey, we're going to keep an eye on you. And then Pixies seemingly, I don't know if he arrested Yelena and the crew. But
I think so. I think he's going to put him he's going to make him nice and comfortable in prison. They're not like going to be tortured or anything like that. They're going to get food. They're going to get water. They're going to get good rest. But he's like, until this is over, until we awake the Titans in the wall or figure out what Zeke's plan is, we got to lock away his supporters. We're going to separate them. We're going to put Zeke, we're ODM gear where we can take him down if we need to. We're going to separate him from his followers and his cohorts, and then we're going to figure it out. We're going to take this one step at a time. And I like how cautious they are. And so far, Yelena and them are like, we get it. We do get it. And they're saying that.
Yeah.
I'm glad that there is a point saying they're getting it. I think it could have gone two ways. Either they could have retaliated because of that. And I mean, I know they've had this whole plan, but I mean, it could have gone either way. They could have just turned on them right there and then because of that, or gone along with it. I think right now, the fact that they're going all along with it gives me hope that they're going to stick with them and not betray them. But again, we don't know.
We don't.
Yeah, it's interesting because let's talk a little bit about the middle section of the episode, which is more about the technology. And we see Armin and Hange kind of team up and talk about the guns and the trains and the ships and all this kind of stuff that they have. And you see Armin kind of describe it to Eren and Mikasa when he says, oh, we started talking to them and they didn't want to talk to us. But after a while, they saw how nice and cool we were. And they got to know us and they saw that we weren't devils. And then we just started having a blast talking about technology. That shows you now that they've used Marley Tech, or they've used the idea behind Marley Tech to kind of improve what they already have, right? I want to get a quick reaction to that as well.
This is the Hange effect, honestly. Like just her raw childlike enthusiasm over technology and learning something new is the reason that there was any kind of alliance, because she's just ready to learn and she's so open to it and willing to listen to people that know more than her. Just like, like she's looking at she's looking at the pistol like barrel first, like only Hange would. Yeah, we saw that like they incorporated those automatic repeating pistols into the ODM gear. Because, we saw Kenny use it and they have to load the barrel again. Mm-hmm. It was basically like a musket, firing, and that's what they have. And we used their technology against them and improved the Islanders' technology as well. Like the ODM gear is so much better and more equipped than it was before. So yeah, just and like I said, how we saw the Marley guy piloting the ship. And I was saying it must be kind of like a paradise over there. And it seems like it is. Granted, we do have the Eldians that hate the Marleys, and we're getting a little bit of that reverse prejudice on the mainland where, the Eldian, the guard from the Corps, kicks Nicolo on Sasha's grave and is like, oh, I hate Marleys. I hate them. Meanwhile, that's what's happening to Eldians on the mainland. But other than that, it seems like the island as a whole is prospering. They're at peace. There's no more, back alley throats being slit by Kenny or any of the shady government stuff. They're all united in this one cause.
Yeah. What do you think, May?
I was gonna say something that had me curious from the beginning was actually what made them want to go over to the other side and fight. Because if they're saying like you are prospering on the island on their own, they have no Titans anymore, they have no one, like they know that the Mars will eventually come, but they could just like focus on defense instead of attack. This is what made me curious, like what was there? It was already hard enough to get scouts to join in the first place back when they were just going outside the walls. But now going to all the way to Marley and convincing people, I don't know how they did it, how they made people want to come with them, because they're prospering on the island. They know that the Marlians are their enemy, and they're fine with that. And they're treating them how they would be treated as well. But I'm curious, like, what made them want to go? Like, what was that? Was it Hange giving them a speech, or was it Eren? Like, we had Erwin before, but he's not here.
I think it was.
Go ahead, Ace. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think it was Eren, right, Ben? I think Eren.
I think it was Eren going rogue, and they just like, hey, we have to go get him. Like, if we lose the Founding Titan, this whole thing is like, if the Marleys get the Founding Titan, we're gonna be obliterated within seconds. So I think it was just out of necessity of Eren going rogue, somehow making it to the mainland, and then writing them letters, be like, hey, I'm gonna do this. And Armin was even saying that where he was like, oh, why can't we talk to them? Like Armin's always been that guy, even with Bertolt. At season 3, part 2, he's like, let me talk to him one last time, please. Let me try and not make this a fight. And it didn't work, obviously. And Armin was still trying to do that, but then Eren went rogue. And, Levi, slow, even in the meeting when he reveals like, oh, I knew this stuff about his story. And Levi's, we'll talk later. Like, Eren's going to get his ass whooped again.
That was such a dad move.
Right. Well, like, I'm not going to kick you like I kicked you in season 1 in public. I'm going to do it in private.
Yeah. I think that's what it is, right? I think Eren went rogue where you're right, May. I think they did want to focus on defense and just relax and stay on the island and not focus up too much on that. But then Eren was very much eager, like, let's start the war now. Let's get it going. Why delay the inevitable? And then he wants to go get Zeke too, right? So he wants them to go get Zeke because he seemed pretty keen on the idea of getting Zeke and getting that royal blood. That seemed to entice Eren quite a bit, and you could tell that the military was very much like, we're not sure if we're going to go get Zeke yet, and Eren's like, let's go do it now, and he just went on his own, and that's why they, did the whole thing that happened last episode. So yeah, like that's the next kind of. I don't want it all to be flashbacks. Like, I like being in the present, but I do need to find out. Like how they organized this plan with Eren going rogue and everything, like how, because it was so sound. And if Yelena, it wasn't her fault that Pete told the soldiers to go get Cart and Jaw, but if it hadn't been for that, they would have gotten out of there scot-free, honestly. Like, they would have, like, bing, bang, boom, been out of there like a magic trick, because like they would have gotten Zeke with the fake death. Probably Sasha wouldn't have died because she, like, butterfly effect, we don't know. But like the Jaw Titan wouldn't have shown up and the Card Titan would have shown up. And maybe they don't get the Warhammer right there, but they take the crystallized thing back to the island and set her up like they did Annie.
Mm-hmm. I was thinking the same thing. One thing that I really want is Eren's thoughts. Because we grew up with these like 3 seasons of getting his perspective on everything. But now we're in the complete dark. All we saw him say this season in present time is like fight at the very end. We don't know what he's thinking. And I want to know why he did what he did. Like, we have an idea, but I just want to hear his inner voice because we just haven't gotten that. And I think that will open a lot this that he's become. Because we didn't really see him grow like we usually do. We just saw him 3 years ago and now. And we haven't had that development yet. And I think flashbacks are good, but I think I like how this episode was a mix of both. They had the flashbacks, but they also had present time. They kept switching between it. I think that was really interesting. But I want to hear Eren's inner voice, basically.
Yeah, I feel like that's a big part of this episode, right? Where it's like, let's decide let's hear what Eren has to say about what he's feeling, what he is, what he has become, right? Because we kind of debated, Ben, last week where we said that is Eren anymore? And we got to see a little bit of his emotion there with Sasha when Sasha died. So we got to see that Eren is still in there. So we don't know necessarily what happened or if Eren is still in there somehow. So I want to see, did Eren see something in the past, or maybe he saw something that the founding Titan saw that maybe gave him a glimpse of what is to come or what he's trying to stop, maybe? I know that there's some theories as far as Eren seeing something that only the founding Titan can see, and maybe that's why he went rogue and when he did what he did. So.
I mean, on one hand, like, you know, on the surface, like, we can really blame Eren for going rogue and, like, you know, acting rashly like Eren's always done in his life. But on the other hand, like, we don't know the memories that he's seeing from this basically living God that is inside him right now, that has controlled an entire race of people for generations up until this point, up until it's been inside him. It's probably fighting against him. It's probably trying to take over control. And he's probably seeing memories of times over and over and over of, like, peace, war, 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 maybe a little time of peace, war, war. Like, so he's just seeing this cycle repeat. And he's like, there's no talking this out. There's no, like, preventing this. We're just going to have to fight. Like, I see what's going on right now. We're just going to have to fight, and we can't do anything. So I don't want to fully blame him because we don't know what's going on. Like May said, we haven't had Eren's inner monologue like we've had for 3 seasons. This is the first time we haven't had it. We don't know what's going on inside this kid's head. And so it's tough.
Yeah, it is. And I think we're going to get that next week for sure. I think kind of going back to the Zeke of it all too, I think we're going to get a little bit more into what Zeke is planning and what his whole deal is, because Zeke seemed pretty surprised with Levi as far as the way he was being treated, which to me was surprising within itself, right? Where Zeke was like, why are you taking me over here? Like, why am I not seeing Eren? Where's Gabby and Falco? Like, he was asking all these questions that seemed to be like it was part of the deal or something. Like, you made a deal that I would see Eren, that I would see Gabby and Falco. Like, this was not what we agreed to. So it seems like they're very much keeping Zeke at bay because they still don't trust him, with good reason, right? Because he did kill Erwin and a lot of, like, pretty much all the scouts. So
killed 100 people.
Yeah. So I want to see what Zeke exactly is planning and how and what he is. What's the treaty he made between him and Hange? I don't know what you think that might be, May, or if you got any hints this episode.
Because they did say that he had these conditions that he asked for, but they didn't go into that at all. I don't know what his conditions were. And also, having Falco and Gabby here is a huge thing because they were never part of the plan. Obviously, in the last episode, Zeke said it was a miscalculation. I don't know what they plan to do with them. On the one hand, Gabby just wants to kill them all. And on the other hand, Falco, I feel so bad for Falco right now because he's just being thrown into the situation all because he cares about Gabby, and now he's in enemy territory, you could say, with Zeke betraying him and everything, and he's just having to deal with it all. But I think I just need to know what these conditions are. I think Zeke plans, maybe I feel like Zeke thinks he can get through to Eren the way because they're brothers or half brothers. He thinks maybe the way that Eren is, he can get through to him. He will be more willing to do what he wants than, for example, Levi, who's like, no, like, I'm in control, you're not in control. And that's why I'm scared if having, like, Zeke and Eren meet could do, I don't know what it could do, but I'm scared of that happening. I know it will happen and they'll talk, but it could lead to things going one way. We already saw Eren go rogue. I don't know what he could do next.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point, right? Because you don't know if maybe they have their own side deal, right? Where maybe Zeke and Eren come up with their own deal because they have more memories than everyone else, because Zeke is royal blood and Eren is founding Titan. So maybe they figured something out where they're like, hey, by the way, I'm going to betray Levi and Hange. You know, are you with me here, kind of thing. So you don't know, because right now I don't think they trust Eren, because they said it last episode, at least Hange did. So that gives more reason for Zeke to be like, all right, I don't trust Levi, he doesn't trust me, but I like Eren and he's my brother. I'm going to talk to him directly and we can kind of get a side deal going on, and we can get that going. So maybe that's what it is too.
Yeah, so I was also quite surprised to see Eren not locked up. I was so sure they'd lock him up this episode like they did before. They're free now, and he's rooming, and he could go himself to go see Zeke for all we know.
Well, he might be in a prison cell. We just saw, a sink. He might be underground somewhere where they don't have him chained. I was surprised that Annie wasn't. They just have her on this little egg throne.
I think they gave up, man. Yeah, they gave up.
I mean, she might be in like a cell, and we just couldn't know. Like, she's
definitely in a cell. It's just like there's just like it feels like there's no precautions. If just suddenly she decides to just break out one day
and transform. Yeah, well, that would just like break everything.
Yeah, that's definitely the case for sure. And I feel like that's part of what's happening now is like I think next week will be like maybe a trial or something for Yelena and maybe for Eren as well. And maybe they'll decide what to do with them. Let me see what this comment says, and I'm hoping it doesn't have any spoilers. I hope. Let me see. Jonathan Yara says, I sense betrayal this season with Eren, Zeke, and Yelena not revealing their true intentions and keeping their cards close to their chest. OtakuMai, please say you thought again when it happens. I think you might be commenting on your
that was something I said in my other videos, I think. I was like, psych, you thought.
Oh, got you. Yeah.
I don't remember what it was that I was saying, but I think it was, I don't remember. But I remember that line because someone else said it before in the comment as well.
What do you guys think of maybe Eren, Zeke, and Yelena being in their own team and their own deal? I'll start with you, May.
Possibility.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't know also how much communication Eren and Zeke have had. I mean, we saw the baseball glove and the baseball being set to Eren before. So I think that indicates that they've been having communication that maybe the scouts aren't aware of. And that could also be connected to Yelena as well. And they might just have some... I'm really scared that I hope this isn't the case, that they just have some secret plan going on themselves. Because I really don't want that to be, because I miss how close the scouts all were to Eren. I really don't want them to turn their backs on him. But also, if he brings a cause for that to happen, well, then they can't really do anything about it, and I wouldn't blame them.
I think Eren and Zeke set up the entire thing. Like now that, like May brings up the baseball glove, I think like Eren got himself, in the POW can and is Liberio, is that what it's called? Liberio?
Yeah,
he got himself in the internment zone and then was probably communicating with Zeke and then started communicating with the scouts. Like, this is the plan, guys. There's this big speech coming up from the Tibers. That's when I'm going to reveal myself. You all need to get on board. And so you're right. Like, we don't know. I feel like we say that every week, that there's so much we don't know, but especially with the communication between Eren and Zeke of what Zeke's initial plan is, because I feel like if their plan was just to awaken the Colossal Titans, they could just do it. Like, and why do they need all the Titan formula? We saw them collect all the Titan formula from the Marleys. Like, what do they need that for?
Yeah, go ahead, May. I missed that.
Oh no, I was just saying, like, I was curious about that. Like, what are they planning to do with the formula? They wanted to turn people? Because I'm not agree with that.
I think like, because we've seen Zeke's shouting power in season 2 and season 3, and we figured out like how he transformed all those people. I think you need to like half inject someone. I don't think he can just shout in a crowd of Eldians and turn them into, because we saw them when they were like they were like cocooned up, and they looked off. They looked drugged up. They looked like they had already either like somehow started the process of becoming a Titan. I don't think he can just like, walk into a crowd and yell and people just turn into pure Titans. Okay. I think there's like something of a medical process to it. And so I think, I don't know if that's like, if they're going to, they got the airship. I don't know if they're going to use that same plan from episode 1 of dropping a bunch of pure Titans on people. I honestly have no idea. But I think that's the thing that I would think is like changing people like 50% of the way, and then Zeke can morph them with his shout.
Yeah.
I was wondering as well if it was just like Zeke had the power to turn them on his own, or if they need to be injected. Because I always think about this. Me and one of my friends, we actually always talk about this, the science behind it all. Like, how much Titan serum do they need? What part of the Titan shifter does the Titan need to eat to get their power or whatever? I mean, it is curious, like, where, like, how does it get passed on and all this? And if he does take 50% of the serum and then it doesn't transfer them all, how did they figure out, okay, only this amount of the serum is needed or whatever?
Yeah.
Not really, Liz. I think they just haven't shown us a lot of that. I don't know if they want to delve into that, but it'd be really interesting to see it.
Well, I always remember, like, in Grisha's flashback with him and the owl on the wall, you know, the guy that killed his sister was even like, oh, I remember you. I'm going to turn this guy into a 3-meter Titan and you're going to fight him. Like, they had that down to a science so much that they could size out different Titans. Like, yeah, people turn into him, but, like, the guy knew how much to inject to make him a smaller Titan so they could have, like, you know, his entertainment for the day.
Yeah, it's almost like I've always questioned that too, May, where I think about, like, how exactly does the flesh form around the spine? Because it seems like the flesh just kind of forms around the spine, making it as big as possible to make the Titan form. But we still have the lightning strike that happens too, which makes me think, like, how is that scientific? That seems like, like that seems like a god just striking down or something like that. Like, it seems supernatural.
I know what's interesting with the addition of the Warhammer Titan, actually, how it's in a cocoon of its own. That kind of changes the whole thing of how we thought it built around them. Whereas with the Warhammer Titan, it didn't build around her; it was connected to her, which I think changes everything that we thought.
That's a really good point too,
and,
right?
And just learning that the Colossal Titan can basically control how big of an explosion.
Yeah,
like, because, like, you know, we didn't know about it, but, like, you know, season 1. Episode 5, you know, the second or third episode where the 5 years later, he just appears and he kicks down the wall. Like, there was no explosion. And then in season 3, part 2, that was the first big one. And then, you know, you see Armin just obliterate literally like half the city. And then in this episode, he's like, oh, I'm just here to intimidate. And he doesn't destroy either ship.
Yeah, he doesn't kill anyone in that blast today, in this episode, which is interesting because you assume after the 2 episodes ago he can't control it, but you're right, Ben, he seems like he can, and it almost seemed like he was kind of skeletal this episode because you could see his rib cage and you don't see his muscles at all, so it's almost like he made like a really skinny, pale Colossal Titan with a smaller blast and not a giant intimidating monster one that we saw a couple episodes ago too.
And especially because, like, his blast was Armin's blast in Assault was so much bigger than Bertolt's. Yeah. Like, if that blast would have wiped out entirely of Sheena if it was Armin's, and Bertolt's, like, barely wiped out half of it or something, or not even. Like, the fact that anyone lived through Bertolt's, like, says that it was smaller than Armin's, because Armin's was, like, crazy huge.
Yeah, it's kind of insane that the way that works as well. I definitely want to get to, especially before I forget, I want to get to Nicolo. I think that's his name, right? Nicolo?
Yeah.
Nicolo and Sasha. A couple made in heaven, man. Yeah. Made for each other.
Even though she's gone, I ship it.
Yeah.
Oh, like, my God. And that made it so much harder because, like,
it did.
We only got to see, like, we grew up with Sasha and everything, and then we got to see, like, hardened badass, you know, Chris Kyle, Sasha in there sniping people, and then we lost her, and then, you know, her final words were meet, and then we got to see why. We got to see goofy old Sasha again, literally napping with a gun in her hand, and she's trying to, like, keep, like, she's like, no napping, Sasha. And then we got to see her double fisting lobsters, like crying and screaming that the food was so good.
Yeah, and you could tell.
Tears. Sorry.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
Because I don't know. My last reaction, I lost it when Sasha died. I cried so much.
Oh gosh. Yeah.
I've been depressed like the whole week about it. So seeing her this episode, I was halfway like loving seeing the old Sasha. On the other side of me was just like, I'm gonna break down in tears again, just seeing her. And it was so nice just to see her again, though, like seeing the goofy Sasha that we miss. But it also makes it so much like sadder now that she's gone. But I did love the introduction of Nicolo because it's like a different kind of character, and the way that he blushed and stuff, it felt like if she'd survived, there could have been something between them.
Yeah. Oh, he was for sure in love with her.
Yeah,
he was for sure in love with her. Absolutely.
It really is like a match made in heaven, like some sort of matchmaker where he's like a kind of like an insecure kind of goofy guy who likes to cook, and you have the crazy Sasha who likes to eat, and it's just combined them both and they make the perfect couple. Because when Sasha was screaming and everyone's like, shut up, Sasha, you could tell he was like, man, she really likes my food. Yeah. Like he felt that in his soul.
Yeah, he didn't know how to react. He's like, he's like, why you like just if you don't want to eat it, don't eat it. And then she started eating, and he's like, don't worry, there's more. Like, because they've never eaten seafood before. Like, they've gone on like bread and cheese and occasionally some like salted pork every once in a while if they got lucky. And Sasha's just like the perfect. She's like the best. She belongs on like the British baking show. Like, she would be so good on that show.
Yeah, she really does.
Off guard seeing her cry to it as well. He never. I mean, a chef and a food lover, it's just perfect.
Yeah.
And that, for me, that was like outside of Levi saying, welcome to the island of devils, you're going to love it here. Besides that moment, besides Levi being Levi in his most Levi way, Sasha's dad shaking Nicolo's hand, and he's like, your daughter loved my food more than anyone has before. Like, anytime you want to come, like, I'm just a Marley POW, but I cook in the kitchen. If you ever want to come by, I'll cook for you. And he goes, on the house? He's like, of course. And they shake hands. It's like, that's the goal. That right there, the littlest, dumbest thing, that your daughter loved my food and I'll cook for you. The smallest thing can create such a big bridge between like two people that are supposed to hate each other through rhetoric and lies and propaganda. And this small little thing can bridge them. And I love that moment, truly.
I did like that moment a lot as well. It just kind of made me a little sad, though, that I had to, like, a death had to happen for that to happen eventually. I mean, maybe it could have happened without Sasha dying as well, if, like, they'd gone really close and then they introduced each other and stuff. I don't know how her parents would have reacted, but it did make me really happy that at least something good came out of her death. Like, a step was taken for Marlene's and Aldine's to get along, and it was shown that it can happen.
Yeah, because Sasha is so like curious and precocious and sweet and kind, and she's not necessarily intentionally trying to hurt anyone, which is why she's so easily acceptable of any Marley, and she's not discriminated against them. She's very much quickly like, oh, cool, you cook. Oh, you do that? Cool. Oh, your skin is dark. Cool. Like she did with Oyo Capone. Like, it's much more like curiosity with Sasha, where she was just like, what's this? What's that? Why do you look like that? But that's why it's such a bummer to lose her, because you really do see her heart and her soul inside that team. And what could have been with that, relationship between her and Nicolo. It could have been a cool, 80 years of just food making and Sasha eating it and them being in love together. It would have been perfect.
I can imagine.
It would have been like, and just like the fact that her legacy is living on through like this joint thing of like food is bringing people together, and that's the most Sasha thing ever.
Yeah, I definitely wanted to touch on that, because to me, that's, like you said, Ben, one of the best scenes of the episode is her father coming back, which we've seen her father before. I don't know if you guys caught the little girl that she saved was also in that scene. Did you guys catch that?
Yeah.
Was that her?
The little girl being raised by her family.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the little girl's being like,
that's like Sasha's little sister now. Like, obviously not like adopted little sister, because she saved that little girl. And that also shows you like, this is what Sasha did. She gave another chance to another little girl and saved her from tragedy. And her dad is able to raise another little girl because of Sasha. So really profound stuff there.
I think the one where she saved that girl in season 2, that was one of the things that like made me love her, like realize that she's not just a side character. This girl is a badass and she's awesome, and she killed the Titan with like a bow and arrow and stuff, and it was awesome. That scene was great. So I'm so glad they brought back that little girl and that she was raised with her family. That makes me so happy. Yeah,
that was a great moment, and that funeral scene made it that much sadder. But when I saw that little girl, I was like, man, that's Sasha's legacy, man, for sure.
In that same scene, Connie saying like she was my twin, I feel like I've lost half of me. Oh my gosh, like I can't tell you how good. Like, I know a lot of people are very skeptical of MAPPA like taking over for the final season, like such a huge show. They have absolutely knocked it out of the park in every single category. I've loved the Titan fights. I've loved the small detailed animations. Can we talk about Eren admitting to people finally the power of the founding Titan that they need, like, because everyone was like, for good reason, everyone was doubting that Zeke was trying to do the best for the Eldians. Like, no, The same guy that transformed an entire village of people into Titans, the same people that decimated the Survey Corps and would have killed everybody if he had a chance. There's no way. And Eren's like, no, I kept this because I was trying to save Historia. I didn't want you guys turning Historia into a Titan on some, theory from my memories. But now that it's confirmed, then this is the real plan. I don't know. It felt good to see Historia again, by the way.
Oh, yeah, she didn't say anything. I was like, say something, Historia. We haven't seen you in forever.
Her voice. I wanted to hear her voice. She didn't say anything.
Yeah. What'd you think of that, May? That reveal?
Oh, what did I think? Well, I remember back in when we first we got that scene in season 3, part 2, when he realized that it was the blood. I was internally screaming, tell them. But obviously I knew why he couldn't tell them. But going into this season, I was like, did he tell them again? In the end, in this 3-year time skip, did he tell them? I didn't know that. I didn't think that it would have anything to do with Zeke. I thought maybe they tried to bring Historia into it in some way. I don't know. I had this image in my mind that she'd piggyback on him.
Right.
That way. But I'm glad that I was really happy that he actually came out and said it. Now finally, I was when Zeke mentioned it in the letter and they said that, I was like, okay, this has got to be the time when he tells him. He has to do it now. And I think, I understand why he didn't tell them, and it makes sense when they ask why didn't you say because of Historia, but also they're all really angry that he didn't tell them, which makes sense as well. I thought at least in my mind, I thought at least he would have maybe just told Levi separately or something, because he's kind of the dad basically.
Yeah.
So I was surprised that he didn't tell anyone, but then he told them all at once. But I'm glad that he did, and that he managed to put the pieces together like that as well. It's important, and it probably is one of the biggest steps that took them to going with Zeke's plan as well.
Yeah, that, and then Eren getting captured as well is definitely what played into them eventually having to trust Zeke, because they had no choice, because they had to get Eren back too. It definitely is a crazy conundrum that they're in right now with Zeke and with Yelena and with this new crew that they have that apparently they trust, but now they're very, very cautious of now that Zeke has joined the team. What did you guys think of the forest hotel that Levi sent him to? It looked like there was a little door there.
Right. It looked like somebody out of Lord of the Rings. That's my favorite thing. I was oh, yeah. I was like, this is straight out of Middle Earth. But I love that scene leading up to it in the carriage where he's like, oh, so am I not going to, what are we doing? Levi's like, we can either kill you and chop you up into little pieces right now and send you home, and your grandparents will die for being, raised a traitor, or you can do our plan and Eren can eat you, or I can kill you later, or we'll see how this rides out. So, and that's the confidence of Levi, is that he could transfer, Zeke could transform right then and there, and Levi's just like, go ahead. I want you to do it. I want you to transform right now, so I have an excuse to kill you right here. I'm begging you. It's that Eddie Murphy in Spies, please do it for me. Please, I want you to. I want you to do it. I want you to do it. And that's why I love this man. That's what he's just sitting in the same carriage as one of the most powerful Titans in history, just bang.
Yeah, I'm loving the interaction between Levi and Zeke. Even in the previous episode on the airship, and then now, how I feel Levi's rage. He's so eager to kill him right there and then. It's taking everything in him to hold back and not kill him. And that's why in the back of my mind, I'm I hope somehow, in some way, he gets to kill him at the end. I just want that satisfaction for him, because it keeps going back to his promise to Erwin, and it keeps. I just keep thinking of that and how he just wants to keep that promise. So even if they somehow manage to work together and stuff, if Levi gets killed at the end, I'll be satisfied.
Yeah, because it made it seem, Levi made it seem like, hey, you could die with your version, or you could die in an awful version where your grandparents die as well. And he was like, either way, you're going to die, right? Because you have 1 year left to live. He made it seem like Zeke knows that he's going to die anyway, and that he's willingly laying down his life for the cause. And Levi's like, don't rush it, because if you want to rush it, I can. But am I the only one who thinks that Zeke is trying his hardest to not get on Levi's bad side? He really made it seem like, Levi, why are you glaring at me, dude? It's over. We buried it. I thought we made peace.
He experienced Levi's wrath firsthand, straight up, when he destroyed the Beast Titan. So I think, if anything, he wants to be on Levi's good side.
He's like that person when you get into like a really serious argument, like when you get into an argument with your roommate, and then like an hour later you walk into the kitchen, they're like, "Oh, what are you eating?" Don't small talk to me. Like they're trying to, like, they're not apologizing, but they're trying to, like, small talk to kind of gauge the situation. That's what Zeke's doing. He's trying to, like, gauge the situation with Levi, like, where it's like Levi's like, "Dude, I'm going to kill you. I made a promise to my friend that I'm going to kill you. Whether it's through a plan of where we end up saving ourselves and the world, or if it's just me vindictively murdering you because you betrayed us, I'm good."
Yeah.
I can imagine what's his name? Zeke quaking in his boots in that scene, because he is actually alone with Levi. At least in the airship, there were people around him. But in that scene, Levi could have done anything because they were alone. No one would know. And I think I can just imagine him internally screaming and, like, terrified of what Levi could do, and just trying to, like, keep cool and not show that he's scared.
Yeah, that definitely felt like it too, where he was talking, like you said, Ben, like, it's like, "Hey, what's in the paper today? This weather's crazy. Some crazy weather here." Straight up just making small talk and being like, "Yeah, man, I don't know why you're still mad at me. What's going on? We made peace, man, right? We cool." Just that whole interaction was kind of wild. I guess we'll finish up here. So we have Yelena, we have Onyokumpon. And then we have that crew. They kind of met up with Pixies. Oh, we didn't even talk about Pixies, but yeah, Pixies is back. One of our favorite Pixies. Commanders, Commander Pixies, who is now, like, pretty much, he's a little too old to go out and, like, get involved with the war, but he still has a big commanding unit on Paradise, so we could tell that he has a big focus there. But we ended up there with Yelena. And like we said, it seems like next week might be maybe a trial or some sort of judgment that might figure out what to do with Zeke and the crew, and Gabby and Falco too, because they're in jail too. They're in prison, so we do know that they are facing consequences, and they might have to face a trial as well. Similar to what we talked about last week, Ben, where we were talking about, like, hey, maybe don't just toss him out an airship. Maybe have him, like, face trial, or maybe have him be punished in a certain way, but because they're kids, maybe you shouldn't just throw kids out an airship. Shout out to Jean for not doing that.
I'm really hoping for some re-education camp for Gabby and Falco, but I don't want to call an 8-year-old a lost cause, but if there ever was one, it's Gabby.
Yeah, Gabby's a little gone. Yeah,
she is like full metal jacket in that prison cell right now, talking about Eren Yeager, even though she just saw her own war chief, like, person that you're supposed to look up to as an LDN, as a warrior candidate, Zeke, siding with the Islanders, and that didn't even, like, phase her at all. It didn't even, like, brush the surface. So I'm wondering what they're going to do with Falco and Gabby. I think obviously Falco is going to be a little more receptive to it if he sees what's going on. Like, dude, like, the people on the ship, none of them return for a reason. Like, no one's being tortured. No one's being, like, put to death over here. We're just making each other better. We're actually making each other better over here, and, like, combining our two societies, and, like, getting away from the world and the wars and trying to avoid it. And as far as Zeke, I'm hoping we get a little bit more of his plan, and it's called the rumbling is what they're calling it. It seems like if they're going to, like, start the rumbling, if they're going to do all that. So I'm really curious to see what happens in this next episode, of, like, where they take it, what they do, and where Annie plays a part, because we barely talked about it, that the whole narration of this episode is Armin's coma, for lack of a better term.
This is something I've been thinking about, because, I mean, if she has been awake this whole time, I wonder if it's just driven her insane, just being, like, in that thing and with no one to talk to, not being able to do anything, and just stuck there. But I think I'd like to think that she can hear what Armin is saying to her, because this could play a huge role in what comes next if she decides to help Armin come out of her shell, and what side she'll be on. Because where she was, if she hasn't been awake this whole time, the last thing she remembers is fighting Eren in season 1. And that was years ago, and that was a completely different mindset, and everything's changed completely from then. So I like to think that she is up to date, and that Armin has caught her up with everything, and that she is listening, and she's deciding to make her move and to approach them and come out, because they can have the season or any like Attack on Titan end without Annie coming back. She's such a huge player, and she hasn't been around for so long. But I think her is going to be a big factor in what comes next. Also, going back to Falco for a second, I think he's going to be huge as well. I think because he knows those sides so well. He heard Eren's side of the story. He got to become friends with Eren first, and then he knows Reiner. He saw Reiner's reaction to Eren back in the basement. I think, and then he said it to Gabby even in the last episode. Like they're just doing this because of what we did to them. He is so smart for his age and understanding, and I think because of that, he could come to be that middle between the Marleyans and the Aldeans. He is an Aldean himself, but he also wanted to be a warrior. And I think that's a big thing. I think because, I just think he's going to be a huge part in this because he can see both sides and he's still really young as well. I really like his character a lot. About Gabby, I don't know if there's anything that could pull her back from where she is now. But Falco, I think he's a really big player in this along with Annie. And I think they'll be a big driving force in the next few episodes.
Yeah, I definitely think Falco is going to play a hand in some sort of the way they're viewing the future of what is to come as far as Marley and the war and all that. I think that's why it's key that John chose to save Falco and Gabby because of what they can represent, or at least Falco can represent as far as the future of the generations of Eldians that are currently in Marley. So you don't necessarily want to demonize all of them and try and teach them that there is a different way, there is a different side to everything. And Falco is seeing that already, so it's going to be a lot easier for them to teach him that. Yeah, I'm definitely curious because it seemed like Zeke wanted to almost adopt Gabby and Falco and be like, hey, let me take him where I am so I can tell them to calm down and to teach him what's going on. But Levi was like, hold on, we got to wait to see where you're at first before we let you do that. That's all I have in my notes right now. The only other thing I have is, I don't know if you guys want to ship Connie and Yelena just because of the size difference. It would be amazing. It's perfect. I just found it too, and I was like, now kiss.
Right. If you can. Get Connie a step stool.
Get him a ladder.
Right.
Yeah, I just thought that was a funny little thing, but
and these are the episodes that I really do like. Yeah, the last few ridiculousness, Warhammer Titan has been awesome, but these are the episodes that really make this show special for me. Is like even like the simplicity of Sasha being like, "Oh, why is your skin a different color?" and Onyeka Pone's beautiful explanation of like why that we're all different and the reason for believing things that we choose to believe because we're allowed to. And I just like, it was such a simple line. Like they didn't, make it this like big anime swelling music moment. It was just like him just explaining it to him. And it was such a beautiful moment. And just all the character stuff of them mourning Sasha, building the society with the different technology, trying to join these two societies that are told from day one they're supposed to hate each other. There's so much in this episode that I really love. Like I'm really okay with a few calm episodes, catching up with information, learning more about what's to come in the future. This is why I love this show, honestly.
Yeah. Any final thoughts, May?
I'm really curious. I know we touched on this, but I want to know why Armin is speaking to Annie. What brought him to Annie? Why is he the one that's here? What made him want to go and speak to Annie? I don't know if this will lead to some shipping thing with Armin and Annie being shipped together or something.
Probably.
I think it's really interesting. I think he understands that Annie could be important in this as well. And I think that's why he's going to her. But I never expected it. I never thought that anyone was actually going and speaking to Annie. I want to know how long he's been doing this as well. Did it happen before? Did it mean ongoing? Or is
Could it be the narration that we're hearing? Could that be Armin talking these entire 68 episodes that we've had talking to Annie, and he's narrating the entire story?
Yeah,
maybe that's him talking to Annie.
Yeah, I think that would be huge if that was.
And this is how I met your mother. No, I'm kidding.
Seriously.
No, but I think it goes back to season 1 when Annie scared him. When she's chasing down Eren as the female Titan, and she takes his hood off, and she could have killed him 2 or 3 times that episode, and she didn't. And so, like, I think he does realize, like, there's some humanity in you. Like, you guys, and he even says, like, what we just did is what you guys had to do when you knocked down the wall. So Armin already realizes, like, what Annie had to go through because, you know, he's seen Bertolt's memories. He's seen all that. So he knows. And so I think he's really trying to be like, Annie, like, we're trying to do this. Like, there's going to be some, like, I don't want to call them speed bumps, you know, blowing up an entire harbor of people. But there's going to be some roadblocks and mistakes that we both make, but we are on the same side at the end of the day. We really are. Like, he's trying not to hold any ill will of anything Annie or any of the warriors have done because he knows they were brainwashed. He knows they were child soldiers. So I think he's really trying to bridge that gap. And hopefully Annie hears him. I don't know, but I'm hoping that she can hear him.
It makes me think too, like, just first of all, two things.
Did we lose Ace?
I'm still here. Do you guys see me?
Yeah.
So it makes me think of two things. It makes me think of one, how dirty that is to Bertold. You eat me and you take my girl.
Take my girl.
or
right.
Did he eat him, inherit his feelings for Annie? Right? Like, what if he inherited his feelings for Annie? Like somehow eating Bertold and getting all those memories of Annie being really cute. And he imagines Annie being really cute because of Bertold's memories and his perception. Am I reading too much into that, or is that?
No, I love it.
Crazy.
This is our tinfoil hat for the day. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, he starts to develop feelings for her because of Bertold's memories. That's mean. Bertold does not deserve that. So, yeah, that's really mean.
And Wolf's Ocean in the chat says, "How long does Annie have left? Probably 1 or 2 years. I think."
Same as Reiner, right?
Same as Reiner, so it's like 3 or 4, right?
Yeah.
3 or
4
and
years,
then how much does because they said that Zeke has 3 years left in the 3-year flashback.
Yeah.
So does Zeke like have a matter of weeks or something, or are we still like in his final full year?
I think in the final year, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because he had a year left. So I think he's still early on in the last year because they mentioned it in the few episodes, second episode. I think that he has a year. So I think he still has some time, but I wonder if it is going to be his end of his Titan lifespan that ends him, or if it's going to be some other way that he goes out.
Yeah, the other thing too, the speculation of Armin, just kind of finishing up on that, because I'm so curious what's going to happen to him, is the idea of episode 1 is called To Me 2,000 years in the future, something like that, or 1,800 years in the future. I don't know if that's Eren talking to himself, like writing a letter to himself in the future, or it's Armin, maybe him speaking to the inheritor of the Colossal Titan, whoever that may be.
Because they're both Titan shifters, and they both, you know, are going to like live in memories forever now.
Yeah, so you could see him, or you could see the first episode being someone writing like the story of what's going on now as like, hey, this is to me in 2,000 years in the future from now because of the Colossal Titan or because of the Attack Titan or whatever Titan it is, somehow being like, this is what happened. Don't repeat the same mistakes. Like, that might be the finale type stuff. So
with you saying if it's Attack Titan or the Beast Titan, I have this one theory that one person is just going to get all the Titan powers and they're just going to on one person and have that ending, like have it just been passed on, like one person has the burden for the rest of it, because I feel like it has to be some way that they're going to end the Titans. They can't just have it keep going to random people, and that's why I think it's going to happen with that as well.
That's possible too, because we know that Eren might be eating Zeke. I almost forgot his name. So if Eren
tried to eat Galliard too.
So if Eren eats Zeke, and then there's only a few Titans left, right? So
you have to eat Armin in the end. That would be. I don't know how that would go.
Just give it all to Historia.
Right.
All of it goes to Historia. Let her handle it.
So there's the Beast Titan and Colossal that's on the island, and then there's just the John Cart, and those are the only two that aren't on the island right now, basically. Oh, and Armor, So there's those 3. So they have 6 Titans on the island right now, right? Because Eren has 3. Yeah, Eren has 3, and then Zeke and Armin, and so what's the 4? Because there's 9 Titans, so it's Armor, Cart, Jaw, and what's the other one that they don't have? Oh, the female Annie's on there too. Yeah, Annie's on the island as well.
Yeah, that's definitely could be the case too. I mean, has to be a way to maybe end the cycle of the Titans, or maybe somehow restart it and not give it to anyone, let it go randomly, Avatar style. Maybe that's what they do. But either way, it's a lot of speculation because I think Armin might be at the center of it all, because I still think he might be the one to be the actual main character by the end of the story. So I like that he was narrating this episode, because we got to see a little bit more of that.
Me too. I like that a lot. I feel like it was really giving us insight into him, but also I think they gave us a bit of Mikasa just through her facial expressions. I think it's just seeing how they're trying to deal with what Eren's done as well, like trying to process and trying to see what they're going to do about it, because they've been so close for so long, and I wonder if they're going to turn on him or stick with him.
Yeah, I still think Eren might be a little bit too caught up with all the other memories that are inside him, and I think that might be kind of driving him like insane, because he's not just Eren anymore. He's everyone that's ever been any other of the other Titans, like Warhammer and Attack and Founding. Like, he has all those memories in there. So I think
those
that's
are like
why.
the 3 GOAT Titans too. Like he's got like probably the 3 most powerful Titans living inside him now. That's crazy.
So he probably has crazy memories in there that are driving him insane. And I think that's why he might be a little bit cold and less Eren-like, which sucks. But either way, we'll see. OtakuMai, thank you so much for joining us. This was awesome.
Thank you.
It's such a great time.
Yeah, I love your YouTube channel, and I'm sure there was a lot of people in the chat talking about how much they love your reactions as well. But for anyone who hasn't seen them, where can people find you?
Well, you can find me at OtakuMai on my YouTube channel, and I also have the Twitter, OtakuMai1. That's it for now.
So do you have your reaction up right now?
Yes, the reaction has been up for an hour and a half.
Great.
2 hours actually, maybe now. So it's there if you want to check it out. There were no tears in this one, thankfully, but yeah, it is. If anyone wants to check it out.
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone, please go check that out. That would be amazing to go see her reactions. I think your reactions are great because you have like this narrative style where you're talking over it, which is good because people want to hear you talk, but you're not like talking against it, I guess. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're just kind of going along with the episode and naturally reacting to it, which I think is pretty refreshing to see. So I highly recommend everyone go check that out. I think it's a lot of fun. Thank you so much for joining us. This was really cool.
Thank you.
Yeah. Ben, where can everyone find you, man?
Everywhere at the Ben Goddard, guys. This was the Super Bowl for me today. Like, I'm gonna go watch the rest of the game. So happy we got to do this. Thank you, May, for joining us. I love your perspective. It was awesome. And I hope you join us again for sure.
Yeah, I really do. I hope you join us as well, and I thank you for coming by. I think this was fun.
Honestly, anytime you want to talk to me about Attack on Titan, I'm here.
Yeah, we could go hours. Like, I could honestly keep going, but again,
for sure.
It's a little late, but it's one of those things where Attack on Titan is just so much fun to talk about, and I just love to speculate it and to like make memes about it and just have a lot of fun talking about it, because I still think like if we had like another 30 minutes, I would just keep doing another round of shipping, which I think is fun too. Yeah, John and Mikasa forever. Down with the Eren.
We're gonna. It seems like it's going that way, man. Eren is just like getting more and more detached and less humane every episode. Like, but they're still connected. Finishing like the last scene of the show, both of them saying you have to fight to win and win to fight, and they're both like they both like resolved to this plan now. Like, whether Eren went rogue or not, there's no going back. There's no putting the toothpaste back in the tube. So they're ready to fight.
Yeah, I'm definitely curious to see what happens. But once again, guys, anyone who's joined us, thank you so much. Please subscribe to First Cut. That's the best way you can interact with us. We're going to be doing a lot more Attack on Titan videos coming up on this channel, so be sure to subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so already. You could also follow me at Squad Leader Ace. Yes, that is an Attack on Titan reference. I am the squad leader, and you can follow me there on Twitter and Instagram. Follow us at First Cut TMO as well. And for the First Cut crew, we're peacing out. Peace, guys.
Peace.
Whoops, let me end this.